Hi everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Retro Man Forever, the only channel that flashes back nostalgically to every decade. So today the focus is on the Three Amigos, and I'll be answering the question, is this the best Western spoof ever made? Brilliant, just brilliant. I've always loved the Three Amigos. Really, what's not to like? It's an hilarious spoof of the Magnificent Seven. The music by Elmer Bernstein is great. The original songs by Randy Newman are a lot of fun. And in general, the film offers an onslaught of big laughs. I've watched this comedy many times with friends and family, and it's one that once you start laughing, it's so funny that sometimes you end up missing the next joke or two as you are still laughing from the previous joke. The three actors are all well cast, and their costumes are a total hoot. Chevy Chase gets top billing here because he was the biggest movie star at the time, but really it's Steve Martin's film. Steve was one of the writers. It was a passion project of his, and he puts in possibly the best performance. Martin Short is also a lot of fun in his first big film role. His male plane scene is a riot. Apparently John Candy was offered Short's role, but knocked it back. And I've also heard that if Short didn't appear, his role would have been given to Rick Moranis. Regardless, the three leads are great, although Chase is sometimes a little too low-key for his own good. But when it comes to scene stealers, special mention must go to Alfonso Aru, who is an absolute blast as the wild bandit El Guapo. And who can forget the hilarious sweater scene, which I've heard is Steve Martin's favourite joke in the entire film. With that being said, comedy always divides people, and Three Amigos is no exception. Yes, not everyone who bought a ticket to see this film in 1986 got all the jokes the first time round. Many were lost in the shuffle. But really, that wasn't the fault of the writers or the filmmakers. As the audience, many of who were young kids at the time, hadn't seen enough westerns to grasp all of the connective humour. As it's a spoof, the film works best if you're in on the joke. So to best appreciate Three Amigos, you will need to have seen a lot of westerns. In other words, if you have a fairly sophisticated western palate, you'll definitely get more value out of this delightful comedy. In some promotional interviews for the film, star and writer Steve Martin jokingly called Three Amigos a masterpiece. To some, that may have come across as far-fetched or an over-exaggeration of his work, but for Steve it was his subtle way of complimenting what he believed to be the truth about his comedic piece of art. John Landis was the director of The Three Amigos. At this point in time, he was an in-demand comedy director. Landis had done Animal House with Belushi, the cult classic The Blues Brothers, Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, and he had just worked with Chevy Chase on Spies Like Us. I've heard that Landis's original cut of the film was much longer, and that the studio removed many scenes, including some stuff with a pre-nanny Fran Drescher and some wacky scenes with comedian Sam Kinison. Whatever the case, The Three Amigos is an hilarious western spoof with energy to burn, and it does a rare thing for a comedy. It manages to play even better today than it did in 1986. But before I go, let's get back to the question, is this the best western spoof ever made? Well, I must say I've seen a lot of them. The Mel Brooks classic Blazing Saddles is an absolute hoot, and the spaghetti western spoof They Call Me Trinity with Terence Hill and Bud Spencer, well, that one packs a punch and rides tall in the saddle. Heck, I've even seen some lesser known ones, like Lust in the Dust with Tab Hunter and Divine, and Rustler's Rhapsody with Tom Berenger and G.W. Bailey from Police Academy. Even John Wayne's son Patrick was in that one. But you know what? For big laughs and rewatchability factor, my vote goes to the Three Amigos. Aha! Let's ride. Thanks for watching, and as always, this is Retro Man, living the dream, retro style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang. But in the meantime, please check out these other episodes.